Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Adeyemi Adedako of the Department of Educational Foundations, Faculty of Education, National Open University of Nigeria. The topic we are going to discuss today is instructional system design. With this, we are going to discuss the basic components of analysis phase, designing phase, development phase, and implementation phase. Come along with me. I'm sure it's going to be a wonderful activity. Thank you. Good day, everyone. And I welcome you back into the class EDT821, Instructional Task Analysis and Psychological Basis of Instructional Media. The topic we are going to consider today is instructional systems design. During our last interaction, we defined and explained the concept of educational technology. From there, we discussed extensively the sub-concepts of educational technology, the technology of education and technology of education. The technology in education and technology of education. We also discussed instructional technology. Today, like I said, we are going to discuss instructional systems design. What is instructional system design? Before this one, we need to also mention the intended learning outcomes. At the end of this interaction, you should be able to define instructional system design, identify the basic components of the analysis phase, identify the basic components of the design phase, the basic components of the development phase, and also identify the basic components of the implementation stage. So what is instructional systems design? Instructional systems design is the systematic development of instructional specifications using learning and instructional theory to ensure the quality of instruction. So it is the entire process of analysis of learning aids and goals and the development of a delivery system in order to meet those needs. Instructional system design also includes development of instructional materials and activities, and tryout and the evaluation of all instructions and learning activities. Instructional system design is a field that prescribes specific instructional actions to achieve desired instructional outcomes. There are basic elements of instructional design. There are basic elements of instructional design. These basic elements reflected in most of the various approaches of instructional system design. One is determining the needs of the learners. and examine the learning context and environments. Determine the outcomes of the learning programs or course and formulating the learning objectives. Developing appropriate and meaningful assessment criteria and procedures. Establish the most effective approaches to delivering the instruction and testing and evaluating the effectiveness of the instructional system. Both the instruction system itself and the performance of the learners, as well as implementing, adjusting, and maintaining the instructional system. Instructional design context. Instructional design, different contexts. One, we have instructional design as a process. So instructional design as a process is the systematic development of instruction. And instructional theory in order to ensure the quality of instruction. Systematic development of instructional specification. Using learning and instructional theory in order to ensure the quality of instruction. So here it is the entire process of analysis of learning needs and goals and development of a delivery system in order to meet those needs. Also, we have instructional design as a discipline. So instructional design here is that branch of knowledge concerned with research and theory about instructional strategies and the process for developing and implementing those strategies. That is instructional design as a discipline, like every other discipline. Instructional design as a science. So instructional design here is the science of creating detailed specifications for the development, implementation, evaluation, and maintenance of instruction that facilitate learning of both large and small units of subject matter at all levels of complexity. And also we have instructional design as reality. So instructional design here can start at any point in the design process. As reality, often a glimmer of an idea is developed to give the core of an instructional situation. So by the time the entire process is done, the designer looks back and see that he needs to see that all parts of the science have been taken into consideration. So the entire process is written up as if it is occurred. It is occurred in a systematic fashion. Not only that, there is a instructional system design. It's a series of steps leading to the production of a successful training programs. We have ADDI model, the phase of ADDI instructional system design model. A stands for analysis, D stands for design, second D stands for development, and high there stands for implementation, while E stands for evaluation. So here, the instructional system design is a series of steps leading to production, like I said, of successful training programs. So ID has numerous approaches and theories available for use by designers and instructors. So most ISD, instructional system design approaches, contain 5 elements, like I said, that is analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. So the systematic approach, and also every component of the instruction is governed by many outcomes, which have been determined after a thorough analysis of the learner's challenge. So these phases sometimes overlap and can be interrelated. However, they provide dynamic, flexible guidelines for developing effective and efficient instruction. So it is a cyclical process that evolves over time and continues throughout the instructional planning and implementation process. I mean, from A to D, from the analysis to design, from design to development, from development to implementation, from implementation to evaluation, and from evaluation back to analysis. So, in phase one of the design, phase one of the design, we have analysis there. We have analysis. So before we discuss the phases, there is need for us to ask ourselves, what is instructional system design? I will advise you to pause video to enable you go through the activity. Thank you. Phase one, which is analysis. So the analysis phase generally addresses issues and questions. Issues like, what is the typical background of the students or participants who will undergo the program? Personal and educational information, such as age. At the analysis stage, you need to know the age of the participants, the nationality, previous experiences, and interests will also be determined at this stage. And what is the target group? So what are the educational goals? Past knowledge levels, experiences, age, interests, cultural background, etc., of the learners. What do the students need to accomplish at the end of the program? What are the learners' names? You need to know all these at the analysis stage. What will be the required in terms of skills, in terms of intelligence, in terms of outlook, and physical or psychological actual reactions. So we need to know too the desired learning outcomes in terms of knowledge, skills, attitude, behaviors, and also to determine popular methods being used around the subject and taking a look at what needs to be developed and improved upon. So review of existing instructional strategies employed. Are they adequate? You need to know this. And what aspects need to be added, clarified, and improved upon. All these issues and questions need to be addressed at this stage. And the next one is phase two. That phase two, we are referring to design stage. So during this stage, the instructional designers need to determine different types of media to be used. Is it audio? Is it video? And or graphics? These are prime examples. Third-party resources going to be utilized, or will the IDs create their own? So will you prepare the teaching learning material, various resources at hand that are required to complete the project, and what are the available resources at your disposal for completing the project? Level and types of activity to be generated during study. Using a teacher style approach, how will you implement the parts of projects? Time frame for each activity. Need time frame for each activity. Uh, how much time is to be assigned to each task, and then how will learning be implemented per lesson, chapter, module, etc., etc. So the topics require a linear progression in presentation, that is easy to what? To difficult. Easy to difficult. So also the third phase, which is development phase. So the development does involve creating and testing of learning outcomes. So CON 2017 further attested that development stage aims to address the following questions. One is the time frame being addressed to in relation to what has been accomplished in terms of material. How you creating materials as per schedule? Do you see teamwork across various participants? Are the members working effectively as a team? Participants contributing as per optimal capacity? Are the materials produced up to task on what they were intended for? So these are part of the questions we generated under phase 3. Also, we have this phase 4, which is implementation stage. So the following are what can be determined at this implementation stage. One, advice on your preferred method of record, as well as the actual data you would like to mine from the experience of students interacting with this project. Something like, what is the emotional feedback given to you by teachers and students during the initial demonstration of the project? Are they genuinely interested, eager, critical, or resistant? Also, as the project proceeds, do you see that IDS, social designers, are able to grasp the topic immediately? Or do they need help? So you need to also know about, explain how you are going to deal with any possible errors during testing. What will your response be if, after presenting activities to students, things do not go as planned? Also, you need to be guided with, did you prepare a backup tool in the event of initial failure of the project? When technical and other problems arise, do you have a backup strategy? So you need to know in advance whether you go for implementation on a small scale or on a larger scale. So when the students do get the material, can they work independently? Or is constant guidance required? So that's all these are very, very important. So also this stage, the last stage, which is evaluation, is often overlooked due to time constraints and monetary reasons. So it is an essential step of the whole ID method, as it aims to answer questions like determining the categories that will be established to evaluate the effectiveness of the project. That is, improve the learning, increase motivation, etc., etc. So, on what factors or criteria will the effectiveness of projects be determined? So, we also need to know to determine the way you implement data collection as well as determine at which it is effectively made. So when will the data related to the project's overall effectiveness be collected and how are they going to be collected? So to determine a system for analyzing participants' feedback is very, very important. And also determine the method to be used if some parts of the project need to be changed around to full release. Or on what basis will you arrive at the decision whether to revise a certain aspect of the project before it is a full implementation? So all these are issues, questions that must be generated for us to be able to achieve a good plan. At the same time, we also need to there is need for us to also look at the importance of instructional system and then the instructional system development. What are the importance of instructional system design and instructional system development? So in some literature, instructional system development is often used interchangeably as instructional system design. So it is important to consider the two terms with the view of making a clearer understanding of the two terms. So instructional system design and development has been proved to be useful in taking into consideration all variables that we believe can hinder effective learning. So instructional system design and development pave way for a rather scientifically based instruction. Instruction is thereby designed in a step-by-step approach that will lead to the achievement of instructional objectives. So by designing and developing instructional packages, the whole subject matter is presented in a logical and meaningful order in such a way that learning can be guaranteed. So since instructional system design and development use a systematic approach, yes, they use systematic approach, immediate feedback is guaranteed. And then the vision of instructional procedure is equally assumed. And now, with all this now, there is need for us to ask ourselves these pertinent questions. Class activity 2, to differentiate between instructional system development and instructional system design. So I would advise you to pause the video to enable you to do the activity 2. So differentiate between instructional system development and instructional system design. Thank you. Welcome back. The benefits of instructional system design. So the main advantage of instructional system design is that it is systematic decision-making process of finding a solution to an instructional problem. So this approach brings about innovations that can translate learning problems into instructional plans so that the quality of instruction is assured. Instructional system design focuses on achieving set learning outcomes, and therefore the instructional objectives show all stakeholders what the intentions of the learning materials are. And at the same time, performance standards and assessment criteria provides the means of determining whether or not those outcomes have been met. So far, so good. We've been able to consider instructional system design, which is an arrangement of resources and procedures to promote learning. As well, the system process of developing instructional system while instructional development is the process of implementing the system or plan. So the acronym ID represents each phase of the instructional system design process. Analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. These are the production steps of training. So the strengths of the ISD, that is instructional system design approach, are its simplicity, reliability, self-adjusting mechanism, and also applicability to a broad range of training and educational aims. So attempt was made to differentiate between instructional system development and instructional system design. Thank you for your attention.